up first, looks like we have, Bill, you've got the new Hickory P flat crankbait, correct?
Yes, sir. We got, PH Custom Lures is always coming out with something new. This is the Hickey P, and Phil can kind of chime in here with me on this, but, it's one of those flat-sided baits that, has a lot of history. It's kind of got that harder thump than, let's say, the Skinny P or the dollar bill. A flat-sided bait that's going to get you more bites, typically when that water's warmer because of that hard vibration. And it's just like everything that we use in fishing. We got tools for every different job, and this bait is no different. And I'll let Phil kind of explain how this came about and things like that.
Yeah. What happened is I guess it's all right to say this. Everybody knows about Ed Chambers, and he was kind of like a legend in the balsa industry as much as in the plastics. And when he passed away, I had so many people calling me and saying, "Hey, we've been using his Hickey forever. We're not going to be able to get them, and they're going for like $150 on eBay." So after I just kept getting prodded, and I thought, well, it actually is kind of like a tribute to him. So this is really close to the old Hickey. I called it the Hickey P. I've kept a lot of the original colors, some of our new colors, and so far, guys, I've really been all over it. And I didn't want to get crucified for maybe knocking off somebody else's stuff, but there was a small supply, and when that's gone, it's gone. So hopefully, guys will throw this and they'll like it and they'll understand why we did it. And I think it's going to be a big success. It's an awesome bait.
Sure, guys. This is a legendary bait that we've all been hearing about for a long time. I've personally never gotten my hands on one of the old Zoom models, but it's great that there's a new alternative out here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think a lot of times we forget that truly balsa was a dying piece of tackle. It was a dying industry, and if it wasn't for guys like Phil at PH Custom Lures that got the help from guys like Lee Sisson and things like that. Baits that we all grew up on, handmade balsa baits, I feel like that tradition would have died had somebody like Phil not picked that up and continued it. So I think a lot of people got to remember that the older people, like Ed and them guys that are going to pass, we got to continue their legacy, their tradition. Guys got to remember that. We're not necessarily knocking off a bait. We're just continuing a tradition or a legacy that those guys are leaving behind. I think we need to remember that in the lure making industry, in the market.
Sure. Now, Bill, you're one of the most well-known shallow water fishermen, a known flipper and cranker. Can you tell us specifically about this crankbait, where it's going to fit into your arsenal? Is this a year-round bait for you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Typically for me, a flat-sided bait is always a year-round bait. I think we get so in that misconception that flat baits are only for cold water. And I'll tell you, I typically got one of these tied on all the time. I just practiced for an event on the Ohio River, and all my bites came on a flat-sided bait. The water's almost 90 degrees. They get bites when other baits won't. And where sets this apart, let's say from the Skinny P or the dollar bill flat-sided crankbaits, this has a harder vibration. Okay, it's going to be, typically the rule of thumb is the colder the water, the less vibration we want, and the warmer the water, the harder vibration we want. That's exactly what you're going to get with the Hickey P is a harder thumping, harder vibrating bait. To me, that's going to excel better than the Skinny P or the dollar bill in warm water. Not saying that you can't catch them on those baits, but once again, this is a tool for the job. It's got a harder vibration, and I feel like it's going to excel in that warmer water.
And a thing, if I can chime in, a
Sure.
thing that I think the flat bait special is, there's no round bait on the market flashes like one of these. When these are in the water, there's all the flat baits, they have a totally different flash than any of the round baits. And round baits are great. I throw them a lot. But it's like when I did my hunting P and my little hunter, which you guys have sold thousands of, if you'll notice, both of them have a litwhat flat place on the side, because when I was doing it, I was trying to figure out how to have a round bait and still have some of that flat bait flash. So I think that flash is what is really, like Billy said, it just adds another thing that they don't see as much.
That's something I didn't even think about. That's a very cool point, and that it makes obviously a lot of sense, and that's a very cool concept. Like I'm just stoked that I can get these and be able to get them fairly regularly. They're still not, mass produced. Obviously, you can't get them like a plastic, but that's why these are, better in certain ways because of that. And if do you guys anything else you want to talk about on this bait, or should we go on, we're good to go on the next one?
Hey,
I would like to say too
Yes,
that these are all truly handmade. The way we build them with cure time, it takes about 2 weeks from the time a bait starts as a stick of wood. It's really a unique process. So each one's handmade, and because they're wood, each one is just a little bit different, and they are a little more fragile. A lot of the young guys that grew up throwing plastic baits, and they don't realize a balsa bait is like an investment. I mean, you got to take care of them, not smack them on docks and slap the grass off of them. But each one of these is so unique that if somebody's in front of you, they're not throwing the same thing you are. I mean, you're showing them something totally different.
Awesome.
Very
awesome.
cool. Now, if you guys want to pick one up for yourself, you can pre-order them right now on Tackle Warehouse. We ship them in pretty soon. You can pre-order these right now. So go make sure to go check them out.